Welcome to Morning Devotion with Ken Gurley. Devotions designed to inspire you on your daily walk with God. Here's your host, Ken Gurley.
Hey, good Thursday morning, MD 2021 family. It's so good to see all of you. Hope, Tiffany, Dave, Raquel, Cindy. Yeah, all of you. I don't know what happened today, but all of you YouTubers showed up first on my stream. It's just like, you've taken over, folks. I'm so happy to see all of you. You make this special. Each and every day, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Central, we try to get together, sometimes technical difficulties, sometimes just life itself. But I'm so happy to see all of you. You make this very special. Doing life together during this uncertain season. So Mike, Jerry, Alan, our prayers are with all of you. We're lifting you up in prayer. Went back through yesterday's devotion and saw so many prayer requests and so many affirmations and assurances that we're sticking together, we're binding together, and we're going to make it through this season. So Ben, Matthew, I'm glad you're here. I hope you enjoy this today. This thought, I guess, has been developing in my heart for a long, long time. And I didn't really realize it until early this morning. I just picked up a pen and paper, which pretty much means my laptop these days. And I can't even read my own handwriting anymore. It's terrible, folks. And so I just started pondering this, and I started working on this, and I was amazed at how much was in my heart about this subject. What's your sentence? A purposeful life. So like, share, follow, get the word out. Dixie, Trenton, Tim, get the word out. And let's expand and grow this MD 2021 family. So happy you're here. You devotees, you make life special each and every weekday morning. And I'm sure you're special in so many lives and so many people. But what's your sentence? That's what's been on my heart. That's what's been on my heart today. And I probably need to explain it a little bit, and I'll give you the background for the understanding and where this thought came from. But I would comment that today, I don't know, but I feel always feel a sense of finality. I know calendars are what calendars are, but there's just something when you get to the end of a month, today, September 30, you get to the end of the third quarter of the year. That means we're officially 3/4 through this year. And we're coming to yet another close and ending, getting ready to start into the final quarter of the year. These are the selahs of life, the time to, I think, pause and reflect. And I believe today's devotion absolutely lives up to that. Because it's always good to stop and reflect what could have been, what might have been, what should have been, what was, what is, not in a condemning sense, but an instructive sense that we can learn from it. I believe that's where we're at today. So Don, Sandra, Edna, thank you for being a part of this. You know the drill. Subscribe, like the page, share the page, follow the page. It was a few years ago. I read an interesting book by Dank Pink called Drive. Pink wrote about a new way of understanding what motivates us. Now, we normally think motivation comes through sticks and carrots, sticks to pound on us, carrots to draw us, punishments and reward systems. But he determined through a lot of research, it's not simply survival and the things that we need to live or the rewards that incentivize us. It's something deeper. It's a sense of fulfillment and enjoyment, what actually motivates us, what gets us up in the morning, what gets us moving, and what gives us a sense of purpose. It was in the book that Pink tells a story from which I get the title of this devotion today. Is Claire Booth Luce, who was the first female congresswoman in the United States. She was having a conversation in 1962 with President John F. Kennedy. She sensed that Kennedy had entered the office with high aspirations, high hopes, and too many competing agendas, and the success of any one of those line items were in jeopardy because he was he was pressed on too many fronts. And so she urged the president to focus. And the way she did it was unique. Here's what she told JFK. She said, a great life is one sentence. Abraham Lincoln's sentence was, he preserved the Union and freed the slaves. FDR's sentence was, he lifted us out of a Great Depression and helped us win a world war. Historically, Luce argued before Kennedy for a life sentence. The idea that ultimately a person's life is going to be reduced to a single sentence. Who was Andrew Johnson? Well, he was the first president to be impeached. You see, one sentence. Who was Dwight D. Eisenhower? Well, he was commander of the Allied forces invading Europe in World War II. One sentence. That our life, for good or ill, better or worse, right or wrong, is often reduced to a single sentence. And Luce impressed upon Kennedy that your attention is splintered amongst so many things, that your life, your sentence, risks becoming a muddled paragraph. And so, Alice, this is where we've got to make up our mind. What is our sentence? What is our life sentence? We may not be presidents, great leaders. Our names may not be known near and far, but we can have a single sentence. What is your sentence that describes you? In a sense, that's how people remember us. We're living epistles known and read of all men, but of all the pages turned in our life, it's usually going to come down to a single sentence. A single sentence that when spoken, people will nod their heads and say, yes, I agree. That's who this person is or was. So in the book Drive, in which this conversation between Luce and Kennedy was recounted, Pink suggests readers choose their life sentence. What is the one sentence who distills the essence of who we are and what we do? He gave some suggestions, some real life suggestions. He raised 4 kids who became happy and healthy adults. That's someone's sentence. She invented a device that made people's lives easier. Or he cared for every person who walked into his office. Or she helped people know what's possible. Or he made music to inspire people's creativity. Or she changed the world and erased all borders with the mic and the sound of her voice. Yeah. Pink ended that section in his book by suggesting that we all contemplate our purpose in life by considering this question: what's your sentence? Oh my. So Jenny, Yolanda, Zane, what's your sentence? What's your sentence? Some of you may have heard me speak on the Year of Yes and how I read 2 books, Your Sacred Yes by Susie Larson, The Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. The first book taught me that each yes is in itself a no. What we say yes to means we are saying no. We are closing off other things in our lives. And the second book, The Year of Yes, was a story of a driven woman at the apex of her career, Shonda Rhimes, Shonda had a verbal hand grenade thrown into her world at a holiday dinner when her sister said, Shonda, you always say no to everything, and you never say yes to anything. And that began a quest to say yes to the right things. And I reflected on that early this morning. What I say yes to habitually, over and over, time and time again, will eventually become my sentence. It will become my life sentence, that one sentence that describes my life. So I want to get it right. I want to get it right. Anna, Debbie, Catherine, I want you to get this sentence right. What is your sentence? What is it? We see the idea of life sentences in the Bible. Plow through the books of Kings and Chronicles. You want to get depressed in your Bible reading, just go through there. You're going to find 38 kings listed in Israel and Judah, and of the 38 kings, oh my, 33 were evil and 5 were good. The evil king's life sentence, well, you read it for yourself. He did evil that was in the sight. He did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. The good king's sentence, he did what was pleasing in the sight of the Lord. Again and again, life sentence is used to describe the kings in Kings and Chronicles. The Hall of Faith in Hebrews 11 contain a summary of people's lives and how they stepped out in faith. And it became that single sentence that described the individual. What's your life sentence? Matthew, Mary, Marlene, what's your life sentence? You get the picture here. Each of us lives a life chosen for us, but also a life we choose. Yes, we have choices. I read a story about a new CEO who was hired to run a company. The outgoing CEO wished him well and said, sometimes you're going to make wrong choices. Sometimes you're going to mess up. And when you really mess up, I've prepared 3 envelopes for you. I left them in the top drawer of the desk. First time it happens, open envelope 1. Second time you really mess up bad, open up envelope 2. And the third time, open envelope 3. Seems simple enough. And for the first few months, everything was fine. Just everything rocked along real good. And then the CEO made his first huge mistake. Then I just pause, say, we all make mistakes. Are we on the same page there? We're all human. I'm speaking to humans this morning. So he made his first big mistake. And you remember those envelopes. Searched in the back of the top drawer, found them. Found envelope 1, opened it up, and the message said, blame me. So that's what he did. He said, this is the old CEO's fault. He made mistakes. I just inherited these problems. And everybody said, okay, all right. So that worked out pretty well. And things went on for a while, and then he made his second mistake. So he opened up the drawer and thought, wow, envelope number 1 did me good. Let me see what envelope number 2 says. This time he read, blame the board. And so that's what he did. He said, it's the board's fault. The board's been a mess. I inherited them. They're the problem. And everybody said, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. Things rock along for a while. Then he makes his third major mistake. So he goes to the drawer, opens up envelope 3, and the message read, prepare 3 envelopes. Oh, you know that's good. That is so good. I just love that. I love that. Because what it says, Mark, is we're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to choose how to respond to those mistakes. And in life, you've got choices. And you've got to choose what really matters. What really matters in your life. As painful as this may sound, life is a result of choices you and I have made. Most things we face in our lives within our control is based on the choices we make. We can't control the weather, but we choose how to react to it. We can't control what happens to us, how people treat us, but we can control how we respond to that, how we will feel, how we will value, what we will value in the future. And so here's what we learn just living this life. Where we are most energized, where we are investing our strengths and our talents, is usually the God-given purpose from which that life sentence should emerge. Where we get lost in something bigger than ourselves. Yes. Maybe that's what that young man had in mind when he shared his sentence. I want to make music to inspire others. Or that one written on construction paper by a young girl. I want to be someone who is missed when she is gone. Yes, there should be a legacy, something inside of us, something that's going to last for generations. What is your life sentence? I know it's highly subjective, but I think it's worth talking about, folks. Bridget, I think it's worth talking about. So let me give you a few suggestions for crafting a life sentence, for living a purpose-filled life. First of all, pray. Pray as you've never prayed. God, I want my life to count. Get specific in your prayer. God, I want to live my life in a meaningful way. I want my life to have rhyme and reason. I want it to have an overriding theme. I want it to have a purpose. What's my purpose, God? God will begin to reveal that to you. Let me tell you something. When you're praying for the will of God, I have never asked God for his will that he hasn't answered me. Usually not immediately, and usually not in broad brush strokes. No, he answers such prayers with a fine-tipped brush by revealing to you and me what energizes us, what most fulfills us. Pray, and you will get that confirmation. It's the first thing to do in preparing your life sentence. Second of all, clarify. Clarify comes from the old Latin word meaning to make clear. You need to make clear what matters in your life. Back to prayer, I think I said to pray specifically, one of the greatest mistakes we make in prayer is generalized prayer. I call them the God bless the whole world prayers. God doesn't respond to general prayers. He responds to specificity. You remember when Jesus taught the parable on prayer, and he said, if one of you have a friend that comes at midnight, notice the exact time, and says, friend, let me borrow 3 loaves of bread. Notice the specificity. I need 3 loaves of bread. This is what Jesus said in prayer. We have to get so desperate. We have to continue knocking, but we have to be specific. What does that mean? Well, we're going to pray about it and we're going to clarify it. So what we've got to do is get real specific. We've got to make it clear what really matters in our lives. Yes, I can tell you as you begin to jot things down, you're going to end up with a wide variety of options. That's okay. Write 1 down, write 2 down, write 20 down, and over time, try them on for size. How's most of your time spent? Where do you derive your energy? Where do you sense fulfillment and purpose? Pray, then clarify or make it clear. And here's the third thing. This is an old statement from Stephen Covey, the late Stephen Covey. Some of you have read his books. He had a statement, begin with the end in mind. This is a habit of a highly successful person. You need to know that your life is going to be reduced to a single sentence. At the end of it, you're going to be remembered for one thing. What do you want it to be? How do you want to live? How do you want to remember? Get to the end of it all and say, this is how I want to be remembered. And then suddenly it takes on a new life. I mean, I would like to play golf. I'd like to play golf once a month, but I won't. And I'm not going to be remembered for that. I'd like to write fiction, but I don't have time to write fiction. I'm living a real life, and I can't say that's my life goal. I would like to spend time doing this and that, but that's not what I want to be remembered for. We are in the end of times, and we need clarity when we stand before the judgment seat of Christ. We want to hear him say, well done, thou good and faithful servant. But to hear him say, well done, we must do what he wants us to do. How do you want to be remembered? What do you want Jesus saying that day? And then here's the fourth and most important thing. Once you settle on what that life sentence is, act on it. A purpose-filled life doesn't come through good intentions. It comes from putting priorities into action. It's saying this matters to me, this matters to God, and I'm going to show that it matters in my daily life. And we get lost in doing what one day he will tell us, well done. I've seen it. You've seen it. People get detoured, sidetracked, sidelined, diverted by so many things. If the main thing is to keep the main thing, they fail at that. They spend resources foolishly. And by resources, I'm talking about hours, minutes, and seconds. Opportunities go unseized and priorities fall by the wayside. Daniel Pink asked in his book, Drive, what's your sentence? Clara Booth Luce had that conversation with Kennedy in 1962. Of course, we all know what happened in 1963. His life was cut short, assassinated here in this state. He wasn't able to get beyond the muddled paragraph, unable to clarify what that single sentence would be. And if you don't clarify your life sentence, then somebody else is going to do it for you. Sometimes life and events take that opportunity from us. In such cases, we're defined by others. Demas has forsaken me, having loved the present world. Abner died the death of a fool. I don't want others to define me. I want God to define me. I want God to reveal my purpose. I want God to reveal my life sentence. I want the author of my life to pick up the pen and help me write that life sentence. So Debbie and Lonnie, you have a life sentence. What's it going to be? Paul said, for me to live is Christ and to die is gain. Isn't it interesting? That was his life sentence. That in his last letter, he could write to Timothy. He said, I did it. I fought a good fight. I kept the faith. I've got a crown of righteousness laid up for me. In other words, I said what my life sentence was, for to me to live is Christ and die is gain. I lived my sentence. I lived my purpose. So Zane and Barbara and Bridget and Chauncey, what's your sentence? What's your life sentence? What's it coming down to? I don't know how much time we've got under planet Earth. Last Saturday, I buried my first cousin and had passed from COVID. And she and I were born in the same summer, 57. It just makes it real, folks. What are you going to be remembered for? Because you can't choose your end. We don't know when this is wrapped up, either through rapture and the catching away or going through the grave. But here's what we know. We have to decide what is our life all about and live it each and every day. That's what I want for you. I want you to hear, well done. I don't know what the judgment seat of Christ is going to be like. It's a bema, it's an elevated platform where we will receive the rewards done in our body. I don't know if I'll be standing in the crowd when you walk up to the judgment seat of Christ. I hope I am. I hope I am. I'm there to hear him tell you, you lived your life sentence. You made your life count for the kingdom. You touched the lives of your loved ones and so many people. I want to hear him welcome you and say, you did well. Enter into the joy that I prepared for you. What's your life sentence? Let's go live a purposeful life. God bless you. Share this with as many people as you can and get to work on your life sentence and go live that life. May God bless you. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, the last day of the work week. And may the Lord bless you and be with you today. Thank you for being a part of the Morning Devotion family.
Thank you for listening to Morning Devotion with Ken Gurley. Join us next time for another inspiring devotion. To support this ministry, please visit firstchurch.com/give.